If you're buying into the new world, you want this, you want that, is gonna be, you can get a microchip if you want to be free. At that point, boom, things are gonna blow. People are going to get thrown under the bus. You're gonna have all the bells and whistles, but those are not as good as the grassroots. Yeah, literally walk next to a tree and they all like zoom out like a giant beehive. If you've ever knocked a beehive, holy shit. The camera doesn't pick up, but literally you walk next to a evergreen, these guys zoom out in plumes. If I know anything, all I know is one thing: it's illegal to disturb the peace. And I am unsettled knowing a lack of information, things that are red flags during a lockdown. Making this video in case that in the future there's ever an outbreak of something that shouldn't happen. Not that that's currently the case, but even more so if it gets extreme flags at half-mast for extended periods of time. And then that's even worse so when there's other flags that are not at half-mast. That means that there's a miscommunication. That one's up and running. Other things that are up and running that are kind of scary because I don't know how much it should be. The fiber optic cables, they're at every corner on the main street. There's one there, there, and every like street they're always right next to each other. There's two right there. This one's not one, but it's equally disturbing because it looks like whenever I see a live wire without it being properly plugged in. Great activity. I know fiber optic cables are the new thing of the future, and whenever I see a fiber optic cable that is not, it could be a pipe running loose, and that would be worse than a wire running loose. Who knows? Equally disturbing. Yeah, that's where I'm at because I'd like to know how much voltage is coming out of these fiber optic stations when they're next to each other. Those fiber optic stations are probably supercharged. There's another fiber optic station. And then there's 5G panels to charge the fiber optics. And the fiber optics are at every corner. The 5G panels are also at next to each other. So in an outbreak, I'd like to know the labeling of all these different structures, just as well. This box that says poison. How many things the gnats have terraformed an evergreen tree into their hive. In the case it would become a mayday. At any moment something can happen in a blink of the eye. Blindsided a squirrel. I think, how bad could it be if this sucker started running at me and its eyes started glowing with rabies? I know that's possible, it's just I don't know how bad things could get. The building I'm speaking next to, and I'm currently touching with my left hand, is haunted. This has been here for a long time, and in the basement of this long-lasted hotel, holy cow, is actually a place of great mischief. This is, an open vessel for just about anything to happen that you wouldn't want to occur for no reason. Which is why I'm trying to understand better safe than sorry before it's too late. Because things that can't happen but actually do, quite frankly, most of the time are. Mayhem, a catastrophe. Whenever I look for something, I usually find the right answer. My best interest. And see this guy in here, that little emoji, that used to be synonymous with little Digimon, and they would, it was along the time with Furby. At that time, technology took a par from its course and started leaving us in the dust, where it was the little Digimon things where you could click the button. It was like almost a keychain, but it had a screen on it, and you could click buttons and you could feed your animal. And then you had the Furby, which was an extension of that, but it was made as a doll. And after those two things, out came the smartphone. Those never advanced ever since. Just as the bees would get the honey, the gnats would be getting evolved off of the voltage, was the only I can think of, because I've never seen the fiber optic as much as I've seen them before. Ergo, I've never seen the gnats culminate as they have before either. It only begs the question, are they both connected? And they're even more detrimental if it's too late. Better safe than sorry is probably the number one thing anyone can learn from going to school. If you learn nothing, it's that they're all trying to tell you that message. Have you ever gone to the nurse in school? I think that this lady is, or man, where you will learn wildly abruptly in any class the least common denominator of that which will resonate the strongest if you have to go there for any reason. What the hell? I could use this stick. Things that you wouldn't actually think but are. The pyramids in the ancient Egypt, they were used to have a better sense of sound structure. The sun god with fire, we later used that for coal. We burned coal and now we've got energy all around. They're shutting down the coal because they want to give all the energy to China. And China will burn the coal without any scrubbers, and so it's black in the sky over China. At noon, it looks like it's 10 at night. Also in Mexico, the black moons, where there's no scrubbers in the coal. The scrubbers would allow clean burning coal where it turns into water vapor as it rises. They don't put any sanctions on their burning of coal because they label themselves as undeveloped nation. All over the ground, trash everywhere. They're undeveloped, and so they throw all their trash into the ocean. In Japan, they see on their coastline the remnants of structure, buildup of mass amounts of trash. Well, to him, it's put this giant pyramid on my head and be able to do stuff that I couldn't if it wasn't on. Or like in Kenshi in Mortal Kombat, he goes blind, and so putting a blindfold over his eyes actually improves other things that you wouldn't have if it weren't. I could use this stick. There's Monster Hunters where you have a giant sword. There's Silent Hill with Pyramid Head. He also has a giant sword. I think one of the reasons why Pyramid Head has that big metal, like sheet metal pyramid on his head is because it allows him to carry his giant sword. However odd that might seem to you, it's sort of no different than like Bluetooth, how you can pay extra and go wireless. The internet, or there's like the elements variants, like water. The water god uses that as dams, hydropower, and they're shutting down our dams. But the most erratic thing that you wouldn't think that actually is that throughout history always been one of the with the gods and the Tagalonus. And he is like prevalent even in modern day time, but we don't recognize him as like the physical thing to the mark of the beast, and actually the thing for him to come about, what actually no one would understand is that screw the sun gods, the thunder gods, Thor. Those were all distractions to let him linger as the king of the flies, as Jesus called him. What the hell? Disgusting.